The rusted iron gate groaned, a sound like a dying man's last breath, as I pushed it open. Ivy, thick as pythons, strangled the pillars, their once proud carvings now obscured by a suffocating green shroud. The air hung heavy, thick with the scent of damp earth and something else, something metallic, acrid, like old blood. I'd ignored the warnings, of course. Whispers from the locals, tales of Blackwood Manor, abandoned for decades, a place where the veil between worlds was thin. Curiosity, that insidious serpent, had coiled around my throat and dragged me here. As an architectural historian, Blackwood represented the pinnacle of Gothic decay, a monument to forgotten grandeur begging to be documented. The driveway, once paved with cobblestones, was now a treacherous path of broken rock and creeping weeds. The manor loomed ahead, a skeletal silhouette against the bruised twilight sky. Its windows were empty sockets, staring out with a silent, malevolent intelligence. A single, flickering light pulsed in the topmost tower, an unsettling beacon in the encroaching darkness. My heart hammered against my ribs, a frantic drummer in a concert of dread. I should have turned back. Every instinct screamed at me to flee. But the pull, the magnetic force of the manor, was too strong to resist. I reached the heavy oak door, its surface scarred and weathered, and lifted the rusted iron knocker. The sound echoed through the silent grounds, a jarring clang that set my teeth on edge. Silence. Then, a slow, deliberate creak from within. The door swung inward, revealing a yawning darkness. A single candle flickered in the hallway, casting long, dancing shadows that writhed like tormented spirits. The air inside was colder, heavier, and the metallic tang of blood was almost overwhelming. "Hello," I called out, my voice trembling despite my efforts to sound brave. No response. Driven by a compulsion I couldn't explain, I stepped inside. The door groaned shut behind me, plunging me into near total darkness. I fumbled for my flashlight, its beam cutting through the gloom, illuminating a scene of utter devastation. Dust lay thick on everything, coating the decaying furniture like a shroud. Cobwebs hung like macabre tapestries, swaying gently in the unseen currents of air. Portraits lined the walls, their subjects rendered grotesque by the shadows. Their eyes seemed to follow me, judging, accusing. I moved deeper into the house, my boots crunching on shattered glass and crumbling plaster. The temperature continued to drop, and I could feel a prickling sensation on my skin, as if I were being watched. Each room I entered was a new tableau of decay. A grand ballroom, its once gleaming parquet floor now warped and rotten. A library, its shelves lined with moldering books, their pages filled with arcane symbols and unsettling illustrations. In the library, I found a journal bound in what appeared to be human skin. Its pages were filled with a spidery script, detailing the Blackwood family's descent into madness. They spoke of ancient rituals, of summoning entities from beyond the veil, of sacrificing blood to appease something. The writing grew increasingly frantic, the author's sanity unraveling with each entry. I closed the journal, a wave of nausea washing over me. I needed to leave. Now. But as I turned to leave the library, I heard it. A faint, rhythmic dripping sound. It seemed to be coming from the floor above. Against my better judgment, I started to climb the grand staircase. The wood groaned and splintered beneath my weight, threatening to collapse with every step. The air grew colder, the metallic scent stronger. I reached the second floor, the dripping sound now louder, clearer. It led me to a long, dark hallway, lined with doors. Each door was slightly ajar, a sliver of darkness beckoning me closer. I hesitated, my hand trembling as I reached for the first door. I pushed it open, revealing a bedroom. A four-poster bed draped in tattered velvet dominated the room. A rocking chair swayed gently in the corner, as if recently occupied. But it was the sight on the bed that froze me to the core. A skeletal figure lay beneath the covers, its bones protruding through the decaying fabric. A dark stain soaked the sheets around it. The source of the dripping sound. Terror flooded my veins, paralyzing me. I wanted to scream, but no sound would come. I backed away from the door, stumbling back into the hallway. The dripping sound intensified, now accompanied by a low, guttural growl. It seemed to be coming from behind the other doors. Panic clawed at my throat. I ran, blindly, down the hallway, slamming each door shut as I passed. But the dripping, the growling, followed me, growing closer with each step. I reached the end of the hallway, only to find a dead end. A single window, boarded up with thick planks, offered no escape. I turned around, my flashlight beam trembling wildly. The doors behind me were slowly opening, revealing the darkness within. The dripping, the growling, were almost deafening. Then, I saw it. A figure emerging from the shadows, its form vaguely humanoid, but twisted and grotesque. Its skin was pale and translucent, stretched taut over its bones. Its eyes glowed with an unholy light, burning into my soul. It was close. Too close. I screamed, finally, a primal scream of pure terror. I raised my flashlight, aiming the beam at the creature's face. It recoiled, hissing, its form flickering in the light. I seized the opportunity, turning and running back down the hallway, towards the stairs. I stumbled, falling to my knees, but scrambled back to my feet and kept running. I reached the staircase and plunged down, ignoring the pain as my body slammed against each step. I reached the bottom and ran towards the front door, my breath coming in ragged gasps. I fumbled with the lock, my fingers numb with fear. Finally, it clicked open, and I threw the door open, bursting out into the night. I didn't stop running until I reached the edge of the Blackwood estate, my lungs burning, my legs aching. I glanced back at the manor, its silhouette stark against the sky. The flickering light in the tower was gone. I drove back to town, my hands shaking so badly I could barely grip the steering wheel. I didn't sleep that night, the image of the creature burned into my mind. The dripping, the growling, echoed in my ears. The next morning, I went to the local library, determined to find out more about the Blackwood family. I spent hours poring over old records, newspaper clippings, anything I could find. Finally, I found it. An old photograph, taken in the early 1900s, showing the Blackwood family standing in front of the manor. There was the patriarch, a stern-looking man with a handlebar mustache. There was his wife, a delicate woman with a haunted expression. And there were their children, 2 boys and a girl. I stared at the photograph, my blood running cold. The girl, she looked familiar. Uncannily familiar. Then I noticed something else. A small detail, almost hidden in the shadows. A glint of metal, barely visible in the corner of the photograph. It was a flashlight. The same flashlight I had been carrying the night before. My breath hitched in my throat. I zoomed in on the photograph, my heart pounding in my chest. The girl was holding the flashlight, her hand resting on its switch. Her eyes met mine. And I knew. I wasn't the first to visit Blackwood Manor. And I wasn't an architectural historian. I was the girl. And I was home.